Hello, students. How are you? I hope you are doing good and in the best of health. I'm your language coach and an IELTS trainer. My name is Rehan. Today, we are going to discuss a very useful topic, and this is actually a part two of the IELTS speaking exam. What we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss a topic on environment. And in this, we will discuss a law on environmental protection. Please watch this lesson till the end as there is an important announcement at the end of this video. So let's start our today's discussion. First of all, we will have a look at some useful vocabulary, and the number one word which we are going to discuss today is littering. Littering is actually when we throw some kind of waste in a public place, we call it littering. Deforestation is actually cutting down of the trees for some commercial purpose. Ecosystem is the system in which the living organisms interact with each other and the effect they had on each other. Biodegradable material. It is the material which has the ability to decay naturally. And we can use the example of plastic. Some kind of plastic is biodegradable and the other one is non-biodegradable. Negative repercussions, it means negative results. Enact means to implement something to make it a law. To mitigate means to lower down the effect of something. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, etc. Arid, it's a piece of land which is dry and having a less amount of rainfall. Sustainable energy is the form of energy which we can sustain, such as solar energy, hydro energy, wind energy, and thermal energy. Sensitize, it means to make someone sensitive to something. And in the last, incentivize, it means to give some form of incentive or benefit. Now we will see the language to talk about environment. I would like to enact this law. I endeavor to. Endeavor means to try to do something. For example, I endeavor to mitigate the effect of some greenhouse gases. I strive not to. I strive means I am trying very hard. We should be wary of. It means be careful and cautious with something. Next, we are going to discuss some idiomatic expressions for environment. To be in deep water, the tip of the iceberg, to weather the storm. And you can find the meaning after the equal sign. Now we are going to discuss some useful ideas to talk about this cue card. So what we will discuss in this cue card, we will discuss some things which will help us to make the environment more protective and useful. So how we can protect the environment and which law we can enact to protect the environment. So the idea number one is to recycle waste. So the idea is when we recycle some kind of waste, it will definitely help us to protect the environment. We can also make a law to control littering so that we may able to protect our environment. We can prohibit the use of plastic bags in our daily life and we can make it a law, and we can also talk on that. We can abstain from the use of pesticides on the crops, and we can also make it a law to protect our environment. We can encourage organic farming instead of inorganic farming. In the last, we can promote the use of sustainable energy, such as solar energy, wind energy, thermal energy, etc. On the other hand, we can discourage the non-effective or non-productive form of energy such as coal energy, as the energy we are getting from the coal is the number one way to pollute our environment. We are going to discuss a sample answer to talk about a law on environmental protection. So the cue card for today is describe a law on environmental protection. What the law would be about, how the law would work, what effects this law would have, and why you think this law is needed. So these are all the 1 minute preparation points, and you can add these points to have a sequence in your conversation. Now we are going to start our sample answer. Well, there are a lot of laws that needs to be implemented to protect environment, such as to control littering, recycling waste, to use biodegradable material, the use of sustainable energy, and to ban the use of pesticides, etc. But here I am going to discuss about the law which I would like to enact, and the law would be to make it mandatory for every household in my locality to plant at least 10 trees in their surroundings, and this will help to make the environment clean and green. Actually, this law would be enacted by the environmental law enforcement authorities, who would not only control the illegal cutting of the trees, but they would also ensure strict compliance of this law. So, what this law will do? Actually, it would help a billion tree tsunami project campaign, which is the campaign initiated by our government in 2019, and this law would help to achieve the targets set by our government. Now, the question is, why is this law the need of an hour? Or what are the positive developments linked with this law? There are several reasons, but here I would like to discuss some of the essential ones. First of all, this law is mandatory to maintain a natural balance of forest. As we know that it's mandatory for any country to have a natural balance, it requires at least 33% of the area which is to be covered with the forest. But this is not the case with our part of the world, as we have only 5% of the area which is covered by the forest. So, tree plantation will help to have a drastic effect on the amount of forest, and the forest will grow by 33%, which is the requirement for a natural balance. And our country will definitely attain natural balance with the help of this tree plantation campaign. Secondly, what this law will do in arid areas where there is a little amount of rainfall and no proper irrigation system, this tree plantation will help to increase the amount of rainfall, and this will ultimately promote the growth of seasonal crops. The other benefits would be like soil erosion will decrease, water conservation capacity of the soil will increase, and the soil will become fertile. As we already know that it is not easy to implement this kind of law, we would face problems such as implementation of this law will be hindered by the landlords of the country, and they would definitely not propose this kind of law because it will consume their space, and they would not like to give their space for that purpose. So what we have to do, we have to run some awareness campaigns regarding tree plantation to avoid this kind of problem. Finally, on the large scale, this law will definitely be beneficial for our country, and the trees which we will plant, they will help to mitigate the effect of climate change, and they would also reduce greenhouse gases, and this ultimately will protect our environment from further deterioration. To implement this law, everyone in the society should feel his obligation towards Mother Nature, and this is the end of our sample answer for today's cue card. Thank you for joining today's class. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, English with Rehan, Anchor.fm. And for online IELTS classes, you can contact at 00923197206668. So don't forget to subscribe our channel, as we are planning to increase the amount of classes in a week, and this would be possible with your help and support. Thank you again, and we will be back in a couple of days. Bye and take care.